My name is Madison Reynolds, and I'm a 32-year-old architect from Seattle. Imagine being told to leave your own house, the one you saved 5 years to buy, by someone who hasn't paid a single cent toward the mortgage. That's exactly what my mother did after living rent-free in my home for nearly a year. She actually stood in my living room, looked me in the eye, and said, if I didn't like living with family, I could leave. But what she didn't know was that I had already scheduled a meeting with my real estate attorney. What happened next changed our family dynamic forever. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to know if anyone else has dealt with family boundary issues. Here's what happened. It started 11 months ago with a phone call that changed everything. My mother was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her words. Madison, honey, I lost the house. The landlord, he's evicting me. She'd taken early retirement without planning properly, and now at 58, she couldn't afford rent anymore. Before I could even process this, she added, Tyler and Jessica are struggling too. Your brother lost his job at the warehouse 2 months ago. My younger brother Tyler was 28, supposedly in his prime working years, but he'd been between jobs more often than not. His wife Jessica worked part-time at a boutique downtown, maybe 20 hours a week. Just for a few months, sweetheart, Mom pleaded, until we get back on our feet. How could I say no? This was my mother, the woman who raised me alone after Dad left. So I said yes. They could stay in my 4-bedroom house in Queen Anne, the house I'd saved for 5 years to buy, scraping together the down payment by working 60-hour weeks and skipping vacations. Let me be clear about the finances here. My monthly costs were substantial. The mortgage was $2,100, utilities ran about $400, internet and cable another $200, and homeowner's insurance $300. That's $3,000 every single month, not counting groceries, maintenance, or the property taxes I paid quarterly. When they moved in that rainy October weekend, I watched the U-Haul pull up with all their belongings. Mom hugged me tearfully, Tyler gave me an awkward pat on the shoulder, and Jessica commented on how lucky I was to afford such a nice place. I remember thinking it would be nice to have family around for the holidays. I had no idea what I was really signing up for. The first month felt almost normal. Sure, the house was fuller, louder, but it was family, right? I deep cleaned the guest rooms myself, bought new bedding, even put fresh flowers on their nightstands. Mom kept saying how grateful she was. By month 3, the gratitude had evaporated like morning dew. Tyler had discovered my home office, a converted bedroom where I worked on freelance architecture projects. One evening, I came home to find my drafting table pushed against the wall and his gaming setup installed. 3 monitors, a gaming chair, LED lights everywhere. Hope you don't mind, sis, he said without looking up from his game. The Wi-Fi is strongest in here. By month 5, Mom was hosting her book club every Tuesday, her church friends for coffee on Thursdays, and bridge club on Saturdays. My quiet sanctuary had become Grand Central Station. But here's what really got to me. I was cooking dinner for 4 people every single night after working 10-hour days. I'd text asking what they wanted from the grocery store, and the lists kept growing. Prime rib, organic vegetables, that expensive coffee Mom liked. Not once did anyone offer to split the grocery bill. Not once. The packages started arriving in month 6. Every day, the doorbell rang with deliveries for Jessica. Designer purses, shoes, makeup palettes. She'd giggle about her retail therapy while I mentally calculated how that money could have gone toward rent. Anywhere. I was sleeping less, stress eating at work, missing deadlines on a major commercial project. My boss pulled me aside. Madison, you look exhausted. Everything okay at home? What could I say? That my family was slowly suffocating me in my own house? By month 10, I knew something had to change. I just didn't know it would get so much worse first. The yellow sticky note on the refrigerator stopped me cold that Tuesday morning. Mom's handwriting, neat and presumptuous. Madison, today's list. 1. Pick up dry cleaning. 2. Vacuum living room before book club. 3. Tyler's laundry is piling up. 4. We're out of that nice wine. Tyler's laundry. My 28-year-old brother's dirty clothes were somehow my responsibility. That evening, I didn't get home until 8 p.m. A deadline had me working late, surviving on vending machine coffee and whatever energy I could muster. I walked through my front door to find Mom in the kitchen, arms crossed. "Honey, the dishes from lunch are still in the sink," she said, as if I'd been home all day. "And we had to order pizza. Again." I wanted to scream. Instead, I quietly started washing dishes while they ate the pizza. My pizza, that I'd paid for, that I wasn't offered a slice of. The next day, I overheard Tyler on the phone with his friend. "Yeah, man, you should see this place. Chi Toy, my sister. She's got this huge house all to herself. Well, was to herself. Pretty wasteful if you ask me. 4 bedrooms, and she was just rattling around alone." Rattling around. In the house I'd earned. Friday brought Jessica's contribution to my humiliation. She cornered me while I was trying to work from home, a rare opportunity I'd fought for. "Madison, can I ask you something?" She didn't wait for an answer. "How come you never date? I mean, you're not getting younger, and maybe if you weren't so particular, you'd have someone to share all this with." Particular. Because wanting basic respect in my own home made me difficult. That night, I stared at my mortgage statement. $1,200 I paid alone. Every single month. 3 days later, I tried. I really tried to approach this delicately. After dinner, that I'd cooked, naturally, I cleared my throat. "So, it's been almost a year since you all moved in," I started carefully. "Maybe we should talk about next steps. I found some nice apartment complexes nearby that—" Mom's face crumpled instantly. The tears came fast, practiced. "I can't believe you're counting the months," she sobbed. "After everything I sacrificed for you? I worked 2 jobs to put you through college, Madison. I went without so you could have your tutors, your SAT prep, your college visits." The guilt hit like a physical weight on my chest. Tyler jumped in, his voice dripping with disdain. "Wow, sis. Just wow. Mom's struggling and you're checking the calendar? That's cold. Heartless, actually." "That's not what I—" "Family helps family," Jessica added, rubbing Mom's shoulder. "That's what normal families do. They don't put timelines on love." Mom looked up through her tears. "Your father left us, Madison. I thought you were different. I thought you understood what family means." The words were surgical, designed to cut deep. Dad leaving when I was 12. She knew that was my deepest wound. "I'm sorry," I heard myself say. "You're right. I'm sorry. Forget I mentioned it." Tyler smirked. Mom's tears dried remarkably quickly. Jessica went back to scrolling her phone. That night, I sat in my car in my own driveway and cried. Not the gentle tears Mom could summon on command, but ugly, harsh sobs that made my chest ache. I felt trapped in my own life, paying for the privilege of being miserable. But even then, sitting in that dark car, something was starting to shift inside me. The question was, what would it take to finally break? My laptop screen glowed with numbers that made my stomach drop. Savings account, $2,147. 3 months ago, it had been $11,000. The monthly bills were crushing me. Beyond the $3,000 in fixed costs, groceries for 4 people ran another $500. Mom's prescriptions that she forgot to transfer to her insurance. Tyler's emergency car repairs. Jessica's necessity shopping that somehow ended up on my credit card. All told, I was hemorrhaging $3,500 a month while my take-home pay was $5,200. The math was simple and terrifying. "Madison, you look tired," my boss Richard said during my review. "Your performance has been slipping. The Waterfront Plaza project had 3 revision requests this month alone." I'd been working at Steinberg Architecture for 6 years, steadily climbing towards senior architect. Now I was making rookie mistakes because I couldn't focus, couldn't work late, couldn't take on the high-visibility projects that led to promotions. I'm handling some family situations, I managed. Richard nodded slowly. I understand family comes first, but I need to be transparent. We're promoting someone to senior architect next quarter. It was going to be you, but… He trailed off, the implication clear. That afternoon, I watched my colleague Brendan get assigned the Microsoft Campus Expansion Project, the project I'd been courting for 2 years. He'd started 6 months after me, but he could work weekends, attend evening client dinners, fly to conferences. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. We're out of coffee. Get the good kind. I'd dreamed of buying an investment property this year, starting my path toward financial independence. That dream was now as depleted as my savings account. Instead, I was subsidizing 3 adults who seemed to think I was their personal ATM and maid service. Something had to give. I just didn't know it would be me. I'm sorry I can't this weekend, I told my friend Sarah for the third time. The house is just complicated right now. Sarah had wanted to come over for our monthly wine night. But how could I explain that my living room was perpetually occupied by Mom's friends? Or that Tyler would inevitably make inappropriate comments? Or that Jessica would judge everything Sarah wore? My home had stopped being mine in ways I hadn't anticipated. The furniture was rearranged weekly according to Mom's whims. My minimalist aesthetic was buried under her doilies, artificial flowers, and those ceramic angels she collected. She'd hung her amateur watercolors over my professionally framed architectural prints. Honey, it needed more warmth, she explained, patting my cheek like I was 12. Tyler had converted my garage into his workshop. The space where I'd planned to store my kayak and bikes was now cluttered with half-fixed computers and mysterious car parts. Oil stains decorated the concrete floor. Just a few projects, he'd said, 6 months ago. Even my morning routine was gone. No more quiet coffee on the deck. Mom was always there with Fox News blaring on her iPad. No more evening baths. Jessica would bang on the door after 15 minutes because she needed her skincare routine. Your house is always so lively now, my neighbor Mrs. Chen observed, not unkindly. All those cars in the driveway, very different from before. Different. That was one word for it. I stood in my own master bedroom, the only space still mine, and realized I was living like a guest who paid all the bills. The house I'd worked so hard for had become a prison, with an open-door policy for everyone but me. That night, I opened my laptop and typed something I never thought I would: Real Estate Attorney Seattle. I practiced the speech all week. In the shower, during my commute, lying awake at 3 a.m. Calm, reasonable, fair. Sunday dinner seemed like the right moment. I'd made Mom's favorite pot roast, set the table with the good plates, even opened a bottle of wine. My hands shook slightly as I served everyone. I wanted to talk to you all about something important, I began, my voice steadier than I felt. Tyler didn't look up from his phone. Jessica was photographing her plate for Instagram. Only Mom gave me half her attention. It's been almost a year since you moved in, I continued. I think it's time we make a plan for you to find your own place. Silence. I've found several nice apartments in the area, 2 bedrooms, good neighborhoods. I'm even willing to help with the security deposit, and… Tyler's laugh cut me off. Are you seriously evicting your own family? No, I'm not evicting anyone. I'm just saying, where exactly am I supposed to go? Mom's voice was ice. There are lovely senior communities, or those apartments on Madison Street. We're saving money right now, Jessica interrupted, though her new Michael Kors bag suggested otherwise. It's been 11 months, I said, hearing the desperation creep into my voice. You said a few months. It's been almost a year. Mom stood up slowly, deliberately, her chair scraping against my hardwood floor. I never thought I'd raise such a selfish child, she said quietly. This house is too big for one person anyway. It's wasteful. Sinful even, Tyler smirked. Yeah, sis. Why do you need 4 bedrooms? Seems pretty greedy. We're family, Jessica added, as if that explained everything. The pot roast sat untouched. My carefully planned speech crumbled. They'd won this round, but they had no idea what was coming. Mom wasn't done. She stood there, my mother, in my dining room, and proceeded to dismantle me piece by piece. I didn't raise you to be this cold, Madison. When I was your age, I was raising you alone, working 2 jobs, never complaining. And now you have all this, she gestured around my home, and you can't share with your own mother? Mom, that's not— Your brother is going through a hard time. Have you no compassion? He's struggling with depression. Tyler looked up from his phone long enough to nod sadly, though I'd heard him laughing with his gaming buddies until 4 a.m. just last night. And Jessica, Mom continued, she's trying to start her own business. Aren't you, dear? Jessica nodded eagerly. My lifestyle blog. It's about to take off. The blog with 12 followers. That business. You sit here in this big house, Mom's voice rose, acting like we're some burden. Do you know how that makes me feel, after everything I've done for you? I pay $3,000 a month in bills. Money! Mom threw her hands up. It's always about money with your generation. What about love? What about family loyalty? What about taking care of the people who took care of you? Tyler chimed in. Pretty sad, sis. You make good money. Why are you being so stingy? We're not asking for much, Jessica added. Just family helping family. Mom delivered the final blow. Your father would be ashamed of how you've turned out. The room spun slightly. Dad, who'd left us, who'd never paid child support, who'd started a new family in Portland, somehow I was the disappointment? We're your family, Mom concluded, her voice hard as granite. Act like it. 2 weeks before that disastrous dinner, I'd sat in the downtown office of Patterson and Associates Real Estate Law. The leather chairs smelled expensive, and the certificates on the wall spoke of decades of experience. Let me understand, Attorney Patricia Patterson said, adjusting her glasses. Your family members have been living in your home for how long? Almost 11 months now. No rent, no formal agreement. She nodded, making notes on a yellow legal pad. And the property is solely in your name? Yes. I bought it before they moved in. Only my name on the deed, the mortgage, everything. Good. That makes this cleaner. She pulled out a thick book of Washington state statutes. Your family members are considered guests, not tenants, since they've never paid rent. You can revoke their invitation to stay at any time, though I'd recommend giving them 30 days as a courtesy. Can they fight it? They can try, but they have no legal standing. No lease, no rent payments to establish tenancy, no ownership stake. She leaned forward. Ms. Reynolds, you have absolute rights as the sole owner. The law is completely on your side here. She handed me her business card, premium stock with raised lettering. When you're ready to proceed, call me. I can have the notices drawn up within 24 hours and even serve as a witness if needed. I'd tucked that card into my wallet, thinking I'd never need it. That maybe we could work things out like a normal family. But now, sitting in my car after that dinner, her words echoed. You have absolute rights. I pulled out my phone and saved her number under emergency exit. Little did I know I'd be calling it at 3 a.m., sitting in a Walmart parking lot, finally ready to reclaim my life. For 2 months before the confrontation, I'd been quietly building my case, though I hadn't admitted it to myself. Every mortgage payment I made was photographed and filed in a folder labeled House Documentation. 60 payments, all from my checking account, all with my name alone. The evidence was overwhelming. I'd opened a new account at a different bank, one where Mom couldn't sweet-talk the tellers into giving her information. My direct deposits were rerouted quietly. My emergency fund, what was left of it, transferred. The property deed sat in my safe deposit box at the bank, but I'd made 3 certified copies. One for my files, one for the attorney, one just in case. The title was clear: Madison Reynolds, single woman, sole owner. Late at night, when the house was finally quiet, I researched Washington state eviction laws. Guests could be removed with reasonable notice. 30 days was standard, Generous, even. I bookmarked the statutes, printed the relevant sections. I'd even gotten quotes from moving companies, saved them in my phone. 3 companies, various package options, all available on short notice. Because I knew if I asked them to leave, I needed to be prepared to help them go. The preparation felt like betrayal and self-preservation all at once. Every document I gathered was a small act of rebellion against the guilt they'd instilled in me. "Why are you so secretive lately?" Mom had asked once, catching me closing my laptop quickly. "Just work stuff," I'd lied, my heart racing. But it wasn't work. It was my escape plan, meticulously documented and legally bulletproof. I was done being a victim in my own home. The papers in my safe deposit box weren't just documents, they were my declaration of independence. If you've ever felt like a stranger in your own home, or had family members who didn't respect your boundaries, hit that like button. I know this story might be triggering for some of you who've dealt with similar situations. Comment below if you think I was too patient. Should I have spoken up sooner? And please share this video with anyone who needs to hear that it's okay to set boundaries with family. Let's continue. Mom wasn't finished with her assault. After calling me selfish, after invoking my absent father, she delivered the killing blow. "If you don't like living with family," she said, each word deliberate and cutting, "then you can leave." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Tyler actually laughed. Jessica smirked behind her wineglass. "I'm sorry, what?" I managed. "You heard me." Mom sat back down, settling into my dining room chair like a queen on her throne. "If you're so unhappy with the arrangement, you're free to go. Tyler and Jessica can help with the bills." Tyler nodded eagerly. "Yeah, I'm starting that coding boot camp next month. I'll have a job in no time." The coding boot camp he'd been starting next month for the past 6 months. "This is my house," I said quietly. "This is a family home now," Mom corrected. "Not just yours. We've been here a year. We've made it a home. A real home, with family dinners and warmth. Something you never managed on your own." Jessica added her poison. "Maybe you could get a studio apartment downtown, closer to your work, more appropriate for a single woman." Appropriate. For a single woman. In my own house that I'd bought with my own money. "We'd take good care of the place," Tyler offered magnanimously. "Better than you do, honestly. You're never here anyway." I stood up slowly, mechanically. My hands weren't shaking anymore. Something inside me had gone very quiet, very cold. "Where are you going?" Mom called as I headed to the stairs. "To pack," I said without turning around. "Don't be dramatic, Madison." But I wasn't being dramatic. I was done. They wanted me to leave? Fine. But they had no idea what they'd just unleashed. I didn't slam doors, didn't yell, didn't give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. In my bedroom, I moved with robotic precision. Wallet, phone, laptop, car keys, a change of clothes in my work bag, the emergency credit card I kept hidden, my safe deposit box key. "Madison?" Mom's voice drifted up the stairs. "Stop being childish." I walked past her without a word, past Tyler, who was already back on his gaming headset, past Jessica, who was taking selfies with her wineglass. "Where are you going?" Mom demanded. "You told me to leave," I said simply. "So I'm leaving." I didn't mean, "Madison, don't be ridiculous." But I was already at the door. My door. Of my house. That I was walking out of because my own mother had told me to. "Madison Elizabeth Reynolds, you get back here right now." I turned to face her one last time. "Mom, you've made it very clear that this is your family home now. Enjoy it." The door closed with a quiet click. No drama, no scene, just done. I sat in my car for 30 seconds, engine running, waiting to see if anyone would come after me. The porch light didn't even flicker. No one came. I drove to the Walmart parking lot on Aurora Avenue. It was well lit, had security cameras, felt safe enough. I parked between 2 RVs and turned off the engine. 9:47 p.m. I was homeless. By choice. Sitting in my paid-off Mazda while three adults occupied my $650,000 house rent-free. But for the first time in 11 months, I could breathe. And more importantly, I could plan. At 3 a.m., the plan would begin. Can you believe she actually told me to leave my own house? The house I paid for? At this point in the story, what would you have done? Would you have called the police, gotten a lawyer, or something else? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss what happens next. This is where things get really interesting. At 3 a.m., the Walmart parking lot was quiet, except for the occasional truck delivering goods. I opened my laptop, tethering it to my phone's hotspot. Time to transfer the crown. Seattle City Lights website loaded first. Thanks to the online account I'd set up years ago, changing the account holder was surprisingly simple. Barbara Reynolds, I typed. Same service address. Effective date, tomorrow, 8 a.m. Account holder update successful, the screen confirmed. Next, Seattle Public Utilities. Water, sewer, garbage. Barbara Reynolds, submit. Comcast was trickier. I couldn't just transfer it. Mom wasn't a current customer, so I scheduled a service cancellation instead. Effective tomorrow at noon. Let them figure out how to get their own internet. The Homeowners Association was next. I logged into their portal and updated the primary contact. Barbara Reynolds would now receive all the notices about lawn maintenance, HOA meetings, and those passive-aggressive notes about garbage can placement. Each confirmation email felt like dropping a weight I'd been carrying, proof that I was done subsidizing their lifestyle. Then I remembered something delicious. 5 years ago, when Mom's credit was shot after her bankruptcy, I'd added her as an authorized user on my utility accounts to help her rebuild. She could take over the accounts, but she'd have to qualify on her own credit and pay the deposits. I pulled up Patricia Patterson's contact and typed a text. I'm ready. Can we meet today? Can we? Her response came at 6:47 a.m. My office, 3 p.m. Bring the deed. I drove to the bank at 9 a.m. when it opened, retrieved my property deed from the safe deposit box, and made one more copy at FedEx. Then I sat in my car and did something I hadn't done in months. I smiled. Patricia Patterson's office was a sanctuary of legal authority. She reviewed my documents with the precision of a surgeon. The deed is clear. Mortgage payments all from your account. Excellent record keeping. She looked up. You've made this very straightforward. What happens next? I'll prepare a formal notice to vacate. 30 days is generous for guests. I'll also draft a letter clarifying the ownership situation, just to prevent any confusion. She pulled out official forms. I can serve as witness when you deliver these. Actually, I said, could you come to the house? I want to do this properly. Her smile was sharp. I charge $200 for house calls, but yes, when? Today, 3 p.m. I'll text them about a family meeting. I composed the text carefully. Family meeting at 3 p.m. today. Important. Please be home. Mom replied instantly. Finally coming to your senses? Tyler. Whatever. Jessica didn't respond, but I knew she'd be there. She wouldn't miss potential drama. At the bank, I printed 5 years of mortgage payments, 60 payments all from my account. The teller, recognizing me, asked if everything was okay. Better than okay, I said. I'm setting boundaries. I bought a new outfit at Nordstrom. Not flashy, just professional. A charcoal blazer, crisp white shirt, tailored pants. If I was reclaiming my house, I'd look the part. Patricia had the documents notarized and organized in a leather portfolio. Remember, she said, stay calm. Let the documents do the talking. You're not asking permission, you're informing them of the legal situation. At 2:45 p.m., I sat in my car outside my own house. 3 cars in the driveway. They were all home. Patricia pulled up in her Mercedes, briefcase in hand. "Ready?" she asked. I'd never been more ready. We walked through my front door at 2:58 p.m. The TV was blaring some reality show. Mom was on my couch, Tyler sprawled in my recliner, Jessica painting her nails at my dining table. "Madison!" Mom stood up, then froze when she saw Patricia. "Who's this?" "This is Patricia Patterson," I said evenly. "She's a real estate attorney." The TV suddenly seemed very loud. Tyler actually sat up straight. Jessica's nail polish brush stopped mid-stroke. "A lawyer?" Mom's voice pitched higher. "What is this about?" Patricia stepped forward, professional and composed. "Mrs. Reynolds, I'm here to witness a formal notice regarding this property." "What notice?" "Madison, what have you done?" Patricia set her briefcase on the coffee table with a decisive click. The sound seemed to echo. She opened it slowly, revealing neat stacks of documents. "First," Patricia said, pulling out a thick document, "this is the property deed for this house." She held it up. There, in bold letters, "Madison Reynolds, single woman." "This house is solely owned by Ms. Madison Reynolds," Patricia continued. "She purchased it 5 years ago, before any of you moved in." Tyler tried to laugh. "We know it's her house. So what?" "So," Patricia said, pulling out the next document, "as the sole owner, she has the right to determine who lives here." Mom sank back onto the couch. "Madison, stop this nonsense right now." But Patricia wasn't done. She pulled out the stack of mortgage payments. "These are 5 years of payments, all from Ms. Reynolds' personal account. No contributions from anyone else in this room." The silence was deafening. Even the TV seemed quieter. "I'm here to witness the delivery of a formal notice," Patricia announced. Jessica finally spoke. "What kind of notice?" Patricia smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. "A notice to vacate." Patricia pulled out the formal notice, crisp and official, with a gold notary seal at the bottom. "I'll read this aloud for clarity," she said, adjusting her glasses. "Notice to vacate premises. The property located at 4827 Queen Anne Avenue North, Seattle, Washington, is solely owned by Madison Reynolds, as documented by deed recorded on March 15, 2019, with King County Records." Mom's face had gone pale. Tyler's mouth hung slightly open. "All current occupants, Barbara Reynolds, Tyler Reynolds, and Jessica Reynolds, are considered guests without tenancy rights. You are hereby given 30 days' notice to vacate the premises. This notice is effective immediately, dated today." Patricia paused, letting the words sink in. "Failure to vacate by the specified date will result in formal eviction proceedings through King County Superior Court." She handed the notice to Mom, who didn't take it. It fluttered onto the coffee table. "This is completely legal and enforceable," Patricia added. "Washington state law is very clear about property rights." Tyler found his voice. "You can't just kick us out. We live here." "You're guests," Patricia corrected. "Guests who've been asked to leave by the legal owner." I stepped forward and signed the notice in front of everyone. My signature was steady, decisive. "Madison," Mom whispered, "you're evicting your own mother?" I finally spoke. "No, Mom, I'm ending your guest status, just like you ended mine last night when you told me to leave my own house." Patricia pulled out 3 more copies. "Each of you gets a copy. I recommend you begin making arrangements immediately." Jessica's voice was shrill. "This is illegal. We have rights." Patricia pulled out another document. "These are the relevant Washington state statutes. You're welcome to consult your own attorney, though I doubt they'll tell you differently." Mom stood up, shaking. "Madison, you cannot do this to your mother." "Mrs. Reynolds," Patricia interjected calmly. "She absolutely can, and she is." Tyler jumped up, face red. "We have rights. We've been here a year. That makes us tenants." Patricia pulled out another paper. "Actually, Mr. Reynolds, tenancy requires either a lease agreement or regular rent payments. You have neither. These mortgage payment records show only Madison's name. Have you ever paid rent?" "We're family," he sputtered. Family status doesn't override property law, Patricia replied smoothly. Jessica was frantically Googling on her phone. It says here we should have 60 days. That's for tenants, Patricia corrected. Your guests. Different legal classification. Mom tried a different approach. This is a family home. We've made it our home. I finally spoke, my voice clear and steady. No, Mom. It's my home. You made that very clear last night when you told me to leave if I didn't like the arrangement. I didn't mean, you said, and I quote, you can leave. You said this was a family home now, not just mine. Well, here's the legal reality. I gestured to the documents. It's mine. Only mine. Always has been. Tyler kicked the coffee table. This is bullshit. You can't throw us out. Mr. Reynolds, Patricia said sharply, I'd advise against property damage. It could result in immediate removal by law enforcement. That stopped him cold. Mom sank back down, suddenly looking older. Where are we supposed to go? The same place you expected me to go last night, I said. Anywhere else? Patricia closed her briefcase. My card is with the documents. If you have questions, have your attorney call me. Madison, I'll be in touch. She left, her heels clicking on my hardwood floors. Day 2 brought reality crashing down on my family. The first call came at 8:17 a.m. Mom, panicked. Madison, the electricity company is calling about a setup fee. $400, what did you do? I transferred the account to your name, like you wanted. The house is yours, remember? But I don't have... Click. I hung up. By noon, the internet was off. Tyler called from his cell phone, burning through his data. The Wi-Fi's down. I have a raid scheduled. Comcast was in my name. You'll need to set up your own account. They want a deposit. $300. Then pay it. I don't have it. Then you have a problem. Day 3, Jessica called. The water company wants $600. Security deposit plus setup. This is insane. Welcome to homeownership, I said. Or in your case, home rental. By day 5, the reality had fully set in. Mom texted, the bills would be over $3,000 a month. We can't afford that. I didn't respond. Day 7 brought a call from Mrs. Chen next door. Madison, dear, there's a U-Haul in your driveway. Is everything okay? Better than okay, Mrs. Chen. They're moving out. Tyler had gotten a job at Amazon warehouse within 4 days of the notice. Funny how unemployment ends when you're facing homelessness. Starting pay, $18 an hour. Not enough for my neighborhood, but enough for a studio in Renton. Jessica suddenly had full-time availability at the boutique. Amazing what motivation does. Mom had called her sister in Tacoma, the one she hadn't spoken to in 2 years because of some petty fight. Suddenly, family reconciliation seemed important. They were learning what I'd known all along. Real life costs real money. Day 14, Tyler approached me as I was checking my mail. I'd been staying at an extended stay hotel, a small price for peace. Madison, he said quietly. I wanted to say something. I waited. I didn't realize how much you were paying. $3,000 a month? That's insane. Yes, it is. He shuffled his feet. I got the warehouse job, 4 days a week, but it's something. Good for you. We found a place. 2-bedroom apartment in Kent. Mom, Jessica, and me. It's not fancy, but it's okay. I nodded. The deposit's pretty steep, though. I pulled out my phone and transferred $2,000 to his account. I told you all I'd help with the deposit. I keep my promises. His eyes widened. Madison, thank you. Day 25, they rented the U-Haul. I came by to watch, making sure nothing of mine left with them. Mom wouldn't look at me. Jessica muttered under her breath about heartless people. But they packed. Day 28, Mom finally spoke to me. I suppose you're happy now? I'm at peace, I corrected. There's a difference. We're your family. Yes, you are. And families respect boundaries. You taught me that, just not the way you intended. Day 30, at 4 p.m., Mom placed the house keys on the kitchen counter. No note, no goodbye, just keys. Tyler texted later. Apartment's small, but it's working out. I'm keeping the job. Jessica posted on Instagram about new beginnings and rising from adversity. 12 likes. Mom maintained her silence for exactly 2 months before texting to ask for a loan. But that's another boundary for another day. The house felt enormous that first night alone. Not empty, spacious, not lonely, peaceful. I spent the entire first weekend deep cleaning. Not the resentful scrubbing I'd done for months, but a ritual of reclamation. Every surface I touched became mine again. The office transformation took a full day. Tyler's gaming setup was gone, leaving marks on my hardwood floor. I moved my drafting table back to its spot by the window. My architectural awards came out of storage. My reference books returned to their shelves. The living room was next. Down came Mom's watercolors and ceramic angels. Up went my architectural prints and the abstract art I'd bought in Pike Place Market. My minimalist aesthetic breathed again. For the first time in a year, I hosted dinner. Sarah brought wine, David brought dessert, and Catherine brought her new boyfriend. We ate at my dining table, no sticky notes with chore lists, no guilt trips, just laughter. You look different, Sarah observed. Lighter somehow. I can breathe in my own house again. 3 months later, the promotion came through. Senior architect, with a 15% raise and a corner office. Richard pulled me aside. Whatever was going on before, I'm glad you worked it out. This is the Madison we hired. I started dating again. James, a software engineer who respected boundaries and had his own place. He cooked dinner at my house, and we ate in peaceful silence, no one demanding to be served. 6 months post-Exodus, my savings account had recovered to $8,000. The investment property was back in my 5-year plan. Mom finally texted, "Can we visit for Thanksgiving?" My response, "You're welcome to visit, 3-hour maximum, no overnight stays." She didn't reply, but she also didn't argue. Progress. 2 months after the silence, Mom texted, "Madison, I need to borrow $500 for rent." I stared at the message for a full minute before responding. "I can't help with that. Have you looked into assistance programs? Your own mother?" My own boundaries. She didn't text again for 3 weeks. When Thanksgiving came, I invited them for dinner, with conditions. 3 hours, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., no staying over. They came. It was awkward. Mom commented on the cold decor. Jessica mentioned how empty the house felt. Tyler at least had grown. "Thanks for dinner, sis. Your house looks good." Christmas brought another test. "Can we stay just one night? Hotels are so expensive." "There's a La Quinta 10 minutes away. I'll send you the link." But here's the thing about boundaries. They taught my family to respect me. Tyler now calls before visiting. He has his own apartment, pays his own bills, and recently got promoted to shift supervisor. Mom learned to ask, not demand. "Would it be okay if I visited next Sunday?" replaced, "I'm coming over." Jessica and Tyler separated 6 months later. Turns out financial pressure reveals character. Tyler kept the apartment and his job. Jessica moved back to her parents in Spokane. The most surprising change? My relationship with Mom slowly improved. Without the daily resentment, we could actually talk. She even admitted, once quietly, "I took advantage. I see that now." "We both learned something," I offered. "You learned to stand up for yourself. And you learned that I would." Family doesn't mean accepting disrespect. Love doesn't require sacrificing your peace. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is show people exactly where the line is, even if you have to do it with legal documents. Thank you so much for watching my story. If this resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to set boundaries, even with family. Especially with family. Comment below. What's the hardest boundary you've ever had to set? And what happened after? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories about standing up for yourself with dignity and grace. Remember, loving someone doesn't mean letting them walk all over you. Your peace of mind is worth protecting. Until next time, this is Madison reminding you that you deserve respect in your own home.